going to see. Starting here with the University of Michigan's varsity squad, Rowie, 888, C2D2, Toby, 1, Yamitra, and Cheese are going to be the starting lineup here. Some known names here, Jeff, not unfamiliar to us. Specifically, of course, referring to Yamitra, we actually have to check, is it the right person? But indeed is. They have a storied history.
Yeah, very much so. In both contenders and collegiate Overwatch, playing on Northwood for quite some time. Through one of their most dominant runs. That was up until the very beginning of this year. Also played in contenders for Rift and a couple other. I think most recently Rift. I don't know if I still have my sheet pulled up here, but a storied player, very much so, particularly be here in the Champions Division. You expect that experience from Yamitra, particularly in a support role where you have the ability to do a lot of ult tracking, to do a lot of shot calling. We expect that experience to play a big part here in this matchup today.
Yeah, of course, and the question is always like, oh, why are they now on this team and on different teams? A lot of that sometimes has to do with priorities. Sometimes the academic career matters more than the esports career. Right. Maybe they had a different track that they wanted to go on. We might be able to have the opportunity to ask them at some point. For now, though, we know they are playing for this Michigan varsity team, and who they're going up against today, of course, is University of Cincinnati Red. They've got Rohan, Chu, Ondog, Lightning, and Nacho coming at you for their starting five. They do have some in the bank if we still need it, but for now we're going to be starting with these. A lot of older players, so to speak. So it's a more seasoned team in terms of age, but probably also in terms of just college experience. There are a few younger players on the team as well, so it's a nice mix, and you often see that come through in the way that certain players might take the lead in the game or in the team as a whole, and that can create a nice atmosphere of more of the older team leaders versus
Absolutely.
the newbies.
You get a nice flow. It tends to lend itself to a really good hierarchy, if you would. Where we've got Andog on tank, who's a grad student here for University of Cincinnati. Definitely expect that leadership to play a part. Like much we were talking about from the support role on the other side, tank role also has a huge ability to kind of guide the team, particularly when it comes to engagements and when you want to take those engagements. So it should be a good one here lined up. Maybe not as recognizable players here, but again, a 3-1 record from the Cincinnati Reds squad. Not to be confused with the baseball team, just the name of this esports team. But Bearcats, they're going to be up against it today. Let's take a look at where we're going. As we're going to start off on Lijiang Tower. Kind of an old tried and true here, Classy.
Yeah, good old NECC system where one of the teams gets the a map on the map side that we're going to next. So right now it is Lijiang Tower coming through first, and we're going to hybrid Flash and Flashpoint for sure. And because it's a first to 3, we might even get to push an escort, and if we get a draw somewhere, maybe even to another control map. For now, though, it is indeed going to be that Lijiang Tower initiation. And it's always a question for me at Lijiang Tower on which sub point they will start, which stage sets the stage for the rest of the series. Because there is a very different approach that you can take to all of them.
Yeah,
and especially
I think more so than other maps. Like, Lijiang feels like there's more variety between 3 sub-maps than you see on some of the other control maps.
It's why teams like it so much. Like, there's always been these questions in scrims, like, oh, which map do you like and for what reason? And Lijiang Tower always comes up as one of the team's favorite maps to start with most of the time. Not just because it's control, but also because of that variety. You get, like, a good warm-up on these different things that you might need to get good at in your scrims, but also eventually, of course, for your matches. So let's see if they get the good warm-up here as well. I'm sure they have already done a little bit of a warm-up scrim before they started, but Night Market is where we set the stage.
If we want to get any sim strats right out of the gate, a long-time favorite. If even just to teleport out, but I mean, if you can get a sim or a maze set up on this point, it can be so difficult to break it open. Cincinnati showing us that exact DPS lineup. Not too terribly surprising here on this one. But on the other side, at least what the Wolverines have got up right now, this could be a bit of a shock.
It really could be. I mean, the Mei is obviously very strong at the moment just because of the way that she has been damage buffed. They did nerf a little bit of the slow that came through this week. However, the slow was the least of people's worries. And with all the cooldown nerfs that have come through, this is still potentially a very interesting matchup in terms of what's going to happen. Especially that immortality field from Baptiste is going to be a big deal.
Oh, look at all the damage Cincinnati took trying to make that rotation. Nacho didn't even make it. Rohan and Chu get on with less than 50 health each. C2D2 gets halfway to their ultimate and basically demolishes the team with one mine.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate, especially losing Nacho so early, because that just meant there was not a lot of healing left, at least not burst healing. Just lightning on that Lucio, and they use their amp up to get out of spawn quickly, I'm sure. They can re-engage on this. Of course, they don't have the Symmetra that, you know, they were... Well, I mean, they don't anymore, but like they were really hurt by that, so to speak, so they had to, I switch off the Symmetra. And it was a really quick fight, so not a lot of ult charge given over to either team, except for C2D2, of course, because they're close to the tire.
I can't help but wonder if this was part of Yamitra's experience with the input on that Junkrat. Now University of Cincinnati have to try to push into all the spam damage. Andog has already used their support. Ooh, but even those cooldowns down, C2D2 gets caught out by the icicle, 98% to tire. And Cincinnati have made their way onto this objective. All attention towards Sir Toby 1, and the Sigma will fall. Baptiste doesn't make it through the window in time. Cincinnati are going to flip this thing right on back. After a little bit of cleanup here, Cheese was trying to dance around for a moment, but the music has stopped.
I mean, as soon as a Junkrat goes down, it is open season for University of Cincinnati Red. They don't have to worry about all that random spam coming in. Because spam is one thing, but Junkrat spam is just something else. See the headshot come through, and it is a very predictable thing. It's like Hanzo arrows. You just aim at a corner at head height. You're bound to hit something at some point. There's both Amp Matrix, though this is a lot of damage coming through.
I mean, big props to Shu for reading the timing on C2D2's peaks. And now Shu, with the Blizzard out, but has to sacrifice themselves to get it on the board. Still, Cincinnati able to convert on a very important kill on Toby 1. Get the tank out of there. And Michigan now just kind of slowing down. Looking a little stuck on a speed bump outside this point. They're going to try to use a tire, see if they can dislodge themselves. Rohan leapt back, managed to keep toes on solid ground to regroup on the back of this point and continue exchanging shots here with Rowie on the other side.
There's a little bit of a stalemate, obviously, but as soon as Nacho goes down, this is going to be the call to initiate, because that is the immortality field gone, and a lot of healing too. Instant ult usage from both teams, lightning with the sound barrier to get it up, and they do get a counter pick.
Yeah, both teams dropping overclock and sound barrier. And that pick on Aroi should help him out a lot. Ooh, nice little move. Toby 1 coming from the outside with the gravitic flux and slams Andog down. Get the tank out of there. Rohan, a quick little hypersphere punch combo. We'll send that Sojourn back to spawn as well. Ice block up to stall, but it won't last long.
Yeah, the immortality field will keep them alive a little bit longer, and it is dangerous still to have the Mei around. They're going to keep stalling for as long as they can. 76%. Apologies to Cha, by the way. They did correctly tell us that it's Cha as in Chugga Chugga, and we like to keep that alive. Unless they mean Chew in Chugga Chugga Choo Choo. It's complicated, Jeff. I mean,
it's Chew.
Even when
it's
they give us
Chew.
But even if they give us the pronunciation, they still make it complicated to figure it out. Either way, it's
don't get me started on Cave, all right?
It is exactly. There we go. Rohan with the opening and the cheese. That is bound to spell disaster. But there's the amplification matrix from Yamitra. This could still be tricky fight to run into, but it's only safe execution, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, running in that double damage is almost impossible. It has allowed Michigan to get surpass the percentage, and now the Amatrix in return from Nacho in Cincinnati to try to force Michigan back. But, ooh, nice little move. Okay, a wall after they disengage, followed by the Blizzard, is going to interrupt the gravitic flux. Toby 1 could not get out of the range of that big old AoE. Andog's going to pick up C2D2 in the interim, and Toby 1 still stuck on the outside. Michigan get picked apart in here, what could be final fight. It'll be a broken contest if at anything here towards the end.
Such a good place to put that Blizzard too. I mean, there's so little space outside to stick there. And Toby 1 didn't know the Blizzard was gonna come out, but yeah, they did get the touch to start the overtime. Overtime is gonna take down. There's no one really that can touch eventually. They don't even make it with Rowie. And that's gonna be the first point going over here to this is Michigan, right? Yeah. Cincinnati even?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Cincinnati. I misread it. That's my bad. Good job, Cincinnati Red. Apologies. I am not reading your sheets correctly today. However, University of Cincinnati. I mean, I honestly, when that May came out, I already felt like they were in a little bit of a better spot. not just because of the power level of Mei currently, but also because of the accuracy and the ability, utility that you have versus the Junkrat on the other side. Like, sure, you can do a lot of damage with the Junkrat and the Sojourn, but good teams know how to both path and damage mitigate versus a Junkrat, and they'll be able to sort of dodge this danger that you get from Junkrats in like your pub games, for example.
Cincinnati just used a teleport to get out of spawn this time, not wanting to try to teleport directly to the point, knowing CTD2 had to be looking out for that play. Nice shot from Rohan on the outside, had an outstanding first sub-map. Picks up 2. Both DPS falling to Rohan early in this fight, and it should be an easy pickup from there.
And what we call a shaky start on stage 1 is a very strong one on point B for Cincinnati Red here. And now Gardens is going to be very tricky. I mean, how are you going to get over this bridge with all this poke coming at you, with the wall being able to split you up in both these tight chokes that you're going to have to deal with? And the only way you can really see this happen is most of the team, because like everyone except for Sigma can just jump over this pool. But if Rohan keeps hitting these opening picks, what are you going to do?
I mean, yeah, but if you pop the Baptiste right in the dome with the railgun, I mean, the rest of the team is just frozen in place. Michigan's plans just absolutely crumble underneath them here.
Yeah, and I think they're going to try and go through White Room, which is the better choice. No environmental danger. It's a little bit more straightforward in terms of the choke, but they're going to have to be so careful about this Mei.
And I was about to say, I'm not sure Baptiste is with them. Maywall has already been used, so Toby1 doesn't have to worry about that. Nice. Creation Rock will interrupt. Oh, it doesn't interrupt the grass. Still a bunch of extra health here for Endog, so they can just hold court here on the front line. There's the Blizzard Ice Block coming from Chu, and this one is also going to be monstrous. Into the back, Rohan goes, picking up kills all along the way. The Ant Matrix is nothing but a prison cell here for Michigan.
Yeah, it will be a couple of picks. They got Nacho and Lightning on the other side, so it was getting a bit dangerous without that healing. But obviously, Cincinnati just had them boxed into a corner. It was a white room, and it became even whiter with all those ice crystals. They're going to now go over the bridge because they know they have the numbers advantage if they go quick. So they will be able to get to the point safely. But C2D's2, oh, so low!
Soundbird also rolling it out of. Now it's just a tank and 2 supports trying to hold on here, but Cincinnati have everything going their way. Plan worked to perfection. Toby1 trying to bring things back with a Gravitic Flux. She's is able to get a pair. Really, just a Sigma and a Lucio. Find 3. CTD2 is returned. And Michigan have an overclock here as well. My goodness, as the Wolverines dig their heels in and wrestle this one away.
Look, eventually they had to be able to use their ultimates, and they got them off and got the value too. They'll only have the Rip Tire, but that can just win the fight outright. That gives them some time to build up the others. And on top of that, Cincinnati sitting on a big fat 0 in terms of ultimates. They're also going to, of course, choose to go to this white room, and it's just the safer choice. But with the Junkrat spam, you still have to be so careful.
Nice little move over the roof, dropping it in, and Endog just gets absolutely bombed. Tires falling from the sky. It's raining explosions, Classy.
Yeah, after be critical, I would say, use the tire a little bit later while the fight's going so you can build up some ult charge, because they barely got to do anything in that fight, like either team. But of course, now Cincinnati also didn't get to build up much. They will have a Blizzard to come into this, and they're going to come in with the Orisa on Andok too. It's a big change, but it'll be able to mitigate more damage than the Sigma will.
It's a nice Bionate from Demetrius. I'm going to follow up, and Rohan still is dialed in with these railgun shots. Accuracy has been incredible from Rohan today. But finally, Michigan are able to get something done. Find that backline, find Nacho. Shoot with another wall and yet another Blizzard. They've been massive already. What a shot! Picking up the Lucio out of the air. The Blizzard is going to freeze Yamitra up stiff. And the Popsicle will shortly melt after. Not before getting off a nano boost, but that last bit of desperation shut down. And Shu is just dotting eyes left and right with icicles.
Toby1 going over to the Doomfist was a very, very hard thing to go with, just because of the, the nature of what Doomfist is. We're running into this team, but it was a swap that just came out because they wanted to redo. Wonder why we bother, Jeff, but in this case, it is fine. It's gonna be King's Row. We're gonna go back to the good old. And to be fair, the way they were playing the Junkrat, I can see it working out on King's Row, even if like nothing else changes, right? It's just the question is whether C2D2 also plays other heroes. I don't think they have to on King's Row, but it's just a question of because they haven't swapped yet. and they haven't particularly found a lot of value with the hero. They got the opening pick on Nacho on Night Market. They got that one pick off with a tire onto Andog at some point, but that's kind of it. Like, most of it was just spam and sort of like, oh, area denial, you can't walk here right now. But it didn't really seem to bother Cincinnati all that much. So you got to figure out if there's something else that we can do. And if they go to a May of their own, how they execute that would also be interesting to see.
Well, my thinking is also to play the Junkrat, you're far stronger if you're able to lock down a position and spam out pathways and chokes. So, which pretty much just limits you to defense for that to even be an option here. Now, we are going to get Michigan starting off on the defense, and we do see C2D2 locking in the J Silly. But we'll see what happens when they go on attack. Maybe that's when we start to see a change and see what else C2D2 has in their hero pool. But for right now, only change in the composition out of Michigan is Yamitra picking up the Yari, and it's Cheese who's picking up the Baptiste, who was playing Lucio on our previous map.
Yeah, and to be fair, if the map is laid out the way it is in King's Row, speed boost is only really necessary if you get into this position where both teams are rushing at each other. So you get the you rush at us, we try and run away, like we kite away type of right. dynamic. And at King's Row, that doesn't happen all that much. So might as well get the extra damage, and still, you can set up a point here. So it's very nice for the pylon to be set up. It's a good choice here, and a lot of healing and extra damage that is going to come out now for Michigan versus last map.
Cincinnati making 0 changes to their composition. C2D2 setting up a bit of an ambush here on the outside, expecting the team to win. Here they run right into your trap! And still, C2D2 is not able to capitalize. We're on with the flick. Immediately dispatches of the ambusher. Now, with lightning going down, does Cincinnati have the speed they need to close this gap? Right now, it looks like they're going to settle for just hanging around the outside and hopes they can get another pick, with Yamitra poking down at him from the high ground behind Andog right now.
Yeah, they're trying to get some shots off, but unfortunately they can't find the purchase on the second shot of the Iari, which is very important if you want to actually get eliminations. Chu is finding those, so it is going to be looking like a fairly easy 0.1 take here for Cincinnati Red, and it just feels like they've started to find the option. They click the download button, and their percentage is ticking up. I think it's currently at about 50%, and as this map progresses, it could go very, very quick to 70, and this might not be a long series, Jeff.
Might not, especially if Rohan keeps playing like that. Yeah. Rohan has had 6 elims already. We've had 1 team fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Nutty stuff. I mean, found the opening pick, and then gets the initial or the second pick. So past the pick onto the Junkrat, gets the second pick on the approach, I believe, onto Cheese. So that enabled Cincinnati to move in and really take that point A without any resistance at all.
Yeah, for sure. Rohan still looking for that, the instant pickups to start of the fight. Did get shot in the head. We do see C2D2 now going over to that May, which could be a big difference. But Rohan, of course, just finds that opening pick again. There's the amplification matrix. You gotta run away if you're Michigan right here.
Everyone managed to get quite a bit of health off of that, but oh no. Yeah, C2D2 disengaged the wrong direction. Cincinnati make the raid, and everybody just chases them down.
Yeah, that overheal is going to tick down fairly quickly. There it goes. So now that's all gone too. Toby1 very close to that Gravitic Flux, though. This could still be a Flux off. And Yamitra to the Iari ult too.
Ooh, Toby1 manages to survive despite the wall at their back, dodges an accretion and ducks around cover. 95% to that Flux to try to stop Cincinnati, who, if Cincinnati wins this fight, well, Michigan's in real trouble. Yamitra, with the captain's son, trying to deny all the value from the Gravitic Flux and the Blizzard, but they cannot. University of Cincinnati, once again, with excellent placement of their ultimates, and they're able to steamroll this thing in. Monstrous amount of time left on the bank, and kills continue to go in Cincinnati's favor.
And it's not, at this point, it's also not even the way that they use the value they get out of the ultimates. It's that they use the ultimates and that they initiate the fights. So at this point, Cincinnati is playing at a tempo, which they are able to do because of the Lucio as well, that they get to initiate quicker and just come in from out of nowhere almost. Now they wall off Toby1, they do get out, but there was a little bit of a cooldown usage that had to be used there for Michigan. And there comes the defensive Flux. It does get Andog, but that's all it gets.
Okay, I was about to say, I didn't know if Lightning was going to drop that sound. We were waiting to the last possible moment and manages to devalue both the Blizzard and the Flux because of it. Impeccable stuff coming out of Lightning. Though, in the end, Toby1 still able to pick off Nacho. And Michigan have their best opportunity to win a team fight yet on this defense. Wall trying to protect against this overclock, but Rowie goes in deep, point blank, finds Chu. The Lucio's speeding past him, and we'll turn around and take care of Lightning. First fight win here for Michigan on Kings Row.
Yeah, at that point, Rowie always almost sounds like a battle cry, right? Like he's going Row. Whee!
Yeah.
Just,
I love it. I love it.
And then the overclock comes out. Like if you could make custom voice lines in Overwatch, I got one for you right there. However, right now, Cincinnati Red, they do have some ultimates coming into their bank that could just close out this map. That point the card doesn't have far to go. It is rolling back, so you could see maybe 2 or at least 1.5 fights before it gets to the end. But they are just amplification matrixing for the defense, and that's not even going to be a fight. They're just going to run away. I mean, rightfully so. It's a very scary ability to run into.
I like that we had 2 scientists just like arguing about gravity over this corner for a few minutes.
Yeah.
You know, who's got the bigger PhD?
Yeah. I mean, right now they're gonna have a bigger ult bank instead of Cincinnati, so I don't know if that counts.
Yep.
But
I think that definitely counts, especially if you're trying to win a map of Overwatch.
It's got to be a doozy, and now they have the amplification matrix advantage too. There is the sound barrier for Cheese that can block something, but what is it going to be block? It's going to try and block the amp matrix damage.
I mean, it's an overclock with an ant matrix, and I mean, it works. Cheese has managed just to keep the other 4 teammates and themselves alive.
Ooh, and okay, cancelled.
Michigan has had to back up right into a blizzard. There's just no cover. Everybody gets frozen up by that. Cheese might have gotten out, but I think they're the only one.
No, they do have C2D2 on the side still, together with Cheese, indeed, on the Lucio. There's a little bit of chance to still come back into this. The doors are being blocked, and Chu is being accurate as always. Meaning they had one thing in their profile, and that is that they shoot weapons on Lucio with spacebar, but they're shooting icicles with right-click. That is a lot of melee damage, but that was just Cincinnati having a plethora of options, right? So actually, Michigan did a really good job of defending. They blocked 2 ultimates with the sound barrier. They even accretioned the gravitic flux. But then there still was the blizzard. It's like, at some point, you cannot fault Michigan anymore for not being able to cancel 4 or 5 ultimates that come out within 20 seconds of each other. Like, that is a very tall order. And they even then, they almost did it, but just not quite. So props for Michigan to like hold as well as they did, but it's still a decent time bank for Cincinnati here.
I think decent's a bit of an understatement, my friend. 244 is a pretty darn good time
more
bank.
than decent.
And it was all set up because Cincinnati did such a spectacular job on point A and B. Yeah, you can't fault Michigan for losing a 4-ult fight, but they put themselves into such a rut. Put themselves so far behind the 8 ball. I mean, they didn't put themselves. Cincinnati put them there with phenomenal play, particularly out of Rohan, to just storm through both of the first 2 sections. So at that point, Cincinnati had just put themselves into such a favorable spot. It was certainly tough for Michigan to do anything about it at that point. Honestly, they probably did good to eat what time off the clock they did.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was just so much momentum going on. I think that may just be the name of the game in this series, is Cincinnati is able to not only use, like basically create momentum, but also use momentum very well. And even when they lose it at some point, because usually they did on third, like they obviously lost momentum, they're able to find a way to build it up and then just unleash it again, which in the form of just an overwhelming ult bank. So we'll see if Michigan is able to put up a similar start and a similar aggression where they now go over to the Bastion. No more playing around. The basket of bullets is coming at you.
Yeah, we're running the May Bastion Cup, and Rowie still just gets picked off. Rohan has their number. Incredible mechanics from University of Cincinnati. I feel like Michigan have great plans. They've got good strategies, but the University of Cincinnati just has the mechanics to overcome.
Yeah, and you gotta also remember, right, the comp doesn't quite play the same as it did last week because of the extra cooldown on both the Immortality Field as well as the reconfigure for Bastion. You can't just go into that turret form all the time. You actually have to plan it out a little bit more. And it also means that Cincinnati has a lot more ability to play around that cooldown.
I mean, I think the turret form has a little more spread on it too, so it's not as reliable even if you are in assault configuration. It's not like it was a week ago. Rohan with a crazy flank. Look how aggressive Rohan is getting. Rohan is like hanging out with the supports. Finally, dishes on Hotel while Chu gets decimated in the front line, courtesy of Yamitra's BAP. Amplification Matrix up, and Rohan finds that Yamitra out of the sky. Just duck hunt here for Rohan on Kings Row.
The ability of Andok to just shield their team, like the rest of their team, while Toby1 does go down the front line, it's just unfortunate. Like, I think that tank matchup is something we also got to look a little bit more, because I don't think Toby1 has been doing a bad job, but it's really about like where do they use their mitigation and where are the openings for the enemy DPS. And so far, Andok it feels like they've given fewer opportunities than Toby1 has for their DPS to find those burst shots.
Blizzard in, makes it past Toby1's
They
gonna
did
grab.
that?
Saw
That's
Toby1
close.
chasing. No, it was so close. They saw it. We're chasing. Cheese will drop the cell barrier. Gravitic Flux from both sides, as a matter of fact. And it looked like Andog got the better deal of the better end of that exchange. Blizzard is in here for C2D2. Nacho's frozen up at the back as the sound barrier fades from Lightning. And Andog just will not be dislodged, just standing in front of the Michigan Amplification Matrix. And just isn't moving. Still alive. It's Toby1 who ends up going down. And they're the team that had the double damage.
And that's interesting as well, right? Because again, it feels like Michigan is on attack, but it feels like Cincinnati is the one that's on attack, because C2D2 tried to do like, a Blizzard play, like we put the Blizzard a little further forward, then we run into them, we eliminate them. But in terms of what they did aggression-wise, Cincinnati was already pushing them back. The only one that got frozen was Nacho, and Nacho was just sitting in the back. No one could even see them on the side of Michigan. That's how far away they were. And that it comes back to momentum again. They're going with the Symmetra now to try and get to this high ground. They did teleport a couple, but not everyone could make it because the teleporter just got destroyed. And C2D2 just again gets railed by Rohan.
And I admire Michigan for coming out with different strats. They're not just, beating their head against the wall, trying the same stuff. They're making different approaches, different compositions. Trying to teleport the Bastion around, get them up onto high ground. But going up against Rohan, there's just nothing to be found. Nacho picking up a 3K in this fight as well, not to be outdone.
Andog with the final blow on the cheese, and now it's a quick regroup and the last chance of Michigan to go in and not instantly go to a 2-0. They want to get some percentage on this point. They want to cap it. They want to complete this map, but it is looking in dire straits without any ultimates online. They're close to a few, though.
I'm sure we got a touch. No, the Gravitic Flux means Toby1 didn't touch. Okay, Cheese got there just in the nick of time. He's just dancing around the outside. Now the Ant Matrix up. And Toby1 runs through, manages to get one with the Fire Strike through that, but Cheese is going to fall in the front, and unfortunately, Toby1 is there by themselves. This is going to be a full hold. You see the 15 kill streak there for Rohan, an exclamation point. I mean, just a badge of excellence.
Easier to grasp as well because there are so many, and the percentage ticks up so fast. But you still have to win those fights, and so far they haven't won a whole lot of them, but they did look pretty good on control compared to King's Row at least. So there is more of a Control-E vibe, as we call that, on a map like Sudavasa, on a mode like Flashpoint. So that does mean they have the opportunity to come back into this a little bit more than they might have on another map type. I am very much looking forward to seeing what they can do. We did we or did we not get subs in the end?
It was a role swap. It's not necessarily a sub, but
yeah,
we do
right.
have
That was what we got.
Yeah, we do have Cheese is going to move into the DPS role, and C2D2 had been playing the Junkrat, and then May is moving down to support. So we'll see what this means as far as compositional swaps coming out of Michigan.
Yeah, we did. I mean, C2D2, while they played they did play their heart out. Obviously, they did pretty well. There was some disconnect that was happening. It looked like maybe it has to do with their hero pool. Maybe it has to do with it just not being their day to day. Could be that Cheese has something up their sleeves that is very different from what people usually play. Maybe there's like a very good Genji player, for example, which has been known to come out on maps
Reaper.
like this. Reaper indeed is now what they're showing, but they're already flicking to the Genji. It's like, look, I have my crystal ball right here. I'm sorry, man.
Clearly.
I just, so it's fine. They still haven't come out of spawn, so we're still ready to be bamboozled. The Ashe pick is a little bit more curious to me, specifically because there are a lot of ways to circumvent an Ashe, and she is the most mobile and flexible of heroes in terms of what she can do. The Bob is nice for contesting the point, and a Dynamite, due to the nature of teams playing fairly close to each other, will likely get a lot of value. But it's obviously still a matter of you have to hit those headshots, otherwise she will very quickly fall off in value.
It's a bold choice, and I think it's a direct response to Rohan. Try to see if they can challenge the Sojourn outside of, the Sojourn's preferred range, as that Ashe can play a little bit further back. And we can already tell Michigan was kind of trying to take the long fight. They're rotating around where Cincinnati are positioned, not necessarily going face-to-face. Yumitra, who has a nice Ana, by the way, typically a main support player, but has a wicked Ana. Yeah, trying to open this thing up. But Michigan not able to find the picks to this yet, and they just continue to backpedal.
They are taking a lot of damage. Specifically, Toby1 is taking a lot of damage. Not surprising on a Doomfist, of course. Has some mitigation, but a lot less flexible than, for instance, the Sigma, so has to just get out a lot. And there's the first pick onto Rowie. Will instantly be found, will be found on the Ashe. And now there's just a lot of mitigation attempts and just stalling and poking. But the point's already being capped by Cincinnati, and the longer this drags out, the more Michigan will lose.
And there's no DPS here for Michigan, so they've got to get out as cleanly as they can or end this as quickly as they can. CJ2 is going to try to escape cleanly. Manages to do so. Nice moves.
Yeah, they're skating away. They're definitely showing that they have no problem switching over to support. I mean, so far, it's been very dodgy and very just around. Going to see if they can get some good boops and some cooldown usage in. Of course, so far, not a problem. Ultimates are getting closer for both teams, a couple online already. There's the amplification ready to start it off. I mean, how can you really get into this? Well, Nano Doomfist seems to be the answer.
Yeah, going right behind that amplification matrix. Quick little move out of Nacho to get up and out of there, but Toby1 still manages to find them. You can't run from Toby1, they will hunt you down. Jeez, unfortunately suffering a similar fate on the other side, but without the Baptiste, it feels like Cincinnati's time is limited on this point, and they got to find these kills quick. In a 99 scenario, that punch seemed to negate the Doomfist, but it didn't knock him down. Sound barrier here from Lightning in lieu of lack of Baptiste. One response from C2D2, Gravitic Flux. See if it can turn the tide, be the difference maker. At least gonna get one, but Michigan are managing to trade out here in this very important fight for the first point. Toby1 picks up one, Yumitra getting on the board as well, and the point is flipped.
They finally managed to do it. It is 99% for Cincinnati. We all know how tough it can be to take these points, especially if that pick lad comes through late on Nacho. It's going to be a tricky one to get back into. There will only be a Dragon Blade as we do see a pause come through. That is Cincinnati asking for the pause. We'll hear about what the reason was and what went on and whatnot. Nice place to go into a pause at least. Or at least we're not mid-fight, right?
Absolutely. I wanted to note that there was a Bob used there, right before the pause happened. I did not see where that went, but it felt.
No, the Bob was out a while ago. It's already been. It's already lost. So basically,
I know it ended. I guess it was the very end of that battle.
Yeah. No, so when Andog was still on the point, it was actually a decent move from Rowie because Andog was like, "I'm just gonna shield dance, no matter what side of the shield you're on." And then Rowie said, "Well, if you're gonna put a shield up, I could put Bob on one side of the shield, myself on the other side of the shield. There's nowhere you can go," and that made them be able to cap the point afterwards. So that's where the Bob was used, in case you were if you missed it. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then I mean, like I said, of course now we will have the Dragon Blade online for Cheese. I don't know if they're gonna wait for the nano boost. It's possible that Yumitra can charge it pretty quickly, especially with Toby1 already being on half health. But it will be I mean, even a clean, like a neutral blade can get some value. It's just tricky to do against the Immortality field. You have the Mei with their block, Sojourn could jump away. You might even get some tank value coming at you from Andog as well. And Lightning and Lucio is going to be hard to catch too. So it is a requirement that you're going to have to burn some cooldowns on the side of Cincinnati before you use it, and not use it as an initiation, unless you just want to bait for cooldowns.
And now making a swap off the Sigma, going over to the Orisa to try to challenge Toby1's Doomfist. Overclock to start things off, and well, they combine to take the Doomfist out so quickly. I don't think I've ever seen a Doomfist die that fast. That was unreal. And with that, I mean, this feels like an inevitable conclusion in Cincinnati going up 1-0 here on Saravasa.
Yep. I mean, you say you've never seen Doomfist go down that quickly, but you obviously haven't been in EU quick play lobbies where people despise Doomfists. At least when they're on my team. When they're on the other team, somebody do pretty well. However, Cincinnati Red now in a pretty good spot to have a good first fight on the next objective with the Blizzard doing a lot of spacing. They are going to run into a fair few ultimates on the side of Michigan. Still, that Blade is online. They're going to have the Meteor Strike as well as the Nano Boost. So the question is who is going to get the Nano Boost. But that's a good early wall off. Who's going to get caught by this? Doesn't look like anyone will. Good escape from the Genji, and that's just early ult use, but not much value.
No, I was hoping to catch him inside, and the Nano Boost is indeed out with the Katana. And here comes Cheese, trying to turn this around. Finds Lightning in their sights, and 3 already down. A quick and decisive fight win for Michigan. Just what they needed. Kind of get themselves back in the driver's seat, get a little more confidence in their squad.
Yeah, and you think with Toby 1 getting the value that they were getting, why would you still use the Nano Blade? It's not just for the fight confirmation. There is an Orisa on the rest of your team, and because Doomfist exists, Doomfist cannot fight Orisa. So if the Orisa gets Fury in the backline, she's gonna find value unless you have some tools to use against her. And the Dragon Blade, the Nano Blade in particular this time around, just creates enough of that extra chaos and space and damage value that the Orisa will not just be able to walk through and help her team take down the rest while Doomfist is doing his thing.
I mean, totally worth it to keep your backline alive, so you can take a solid fight here. Matrix from Cincinnati to start things off, coming up on a sound barrier. There is one on the other side. Early Bob, at least took a lot of the aggro from the Amplification Matrix. Yeah, Toby1 tried to dive in with like 5 health. That was never going to work. And this is an immediate flip. Cincinnati flipped this over before even finishing the fight.
It's interesting because you feel like Toby1 always has 5 health when they go in, but like when they go in, they're usually still at like 60% health. But as soon as they press that slam button or the punch button, they just instantly seem to lose. Just like they just instantly seem to lose health, which means that they always need to count on needing 60% more health than they think they have.
Oh,
which is just not realistic.
Toby1's already in trouble here. A great nade from Yamitra though. Toby1 is able to get top back up. Terra Surge coming out. CD22 is going to go ahead and invest the sound barrier. Toby1 barely gets it at the final second. That was close. Lightning trying to respond. Almost got that interrupted. Lightning's still going to get melted. Beautiful anti-nade into the mix. And Toby is punching people around left and right while Cheese is taking the aggro from Rohan, who has been a complete X-factor in this series, is kind of nullified by all their attention trying to shoot the Genji.
The Terra Surge was a nice idea. Like, it was just, oh, we got to create space, and if everyone tries to step on, we're going to just slam it down. But fortunately, it didn't find the value that it needed, and the space created wasn't created for long enough for the point to flip. So, no value there. They will find Rowie early for somehow. I mean, that's just Chu doing Chu things at this point. But there will be. Oh, they do it!
Oh, no way! That was incredible! Opening pick goes to Cincinnati with that beautiful shot as Chu out snipes the Ash, but nobody saw Toby1 waiting and wait. What a play from Michigan.
Anyone's still wondering why you picked the Doomfist on the map. This is why I picked the Doomfist on this map. Now they can swap. They don't have to be in Doomfist anymore. But of course, they got like 40% ult charge, so now they have Meteor Strike, which is a good opening for the next point. And it's going to keep on snowballing from there. However, another Bob will be online from Rowie. There will be another Meteor Strike indeed. Only thing that's on the side of Cincinnati is going to be that Amplification Matrix, and it's not even online just yet. So they will be able to initiate and get to this point without having to worry about the window. But of course, it charges pretty quickly, and Cheese is already being eliminated here.
What a convergence to find Cheese as they dash down the stairwell. They got McButler to make up for the lack of DPS players, so we're back to a 5v5 at least momentarily. Rohan kept out of the fight by said Bobo. Andog is antied on the objective, and Lightning gets picked out at the very end. But here comes Rohan. Finds Toby1 with a headshot through an Amplification Matrix. Nobody dare stands on point when Rohan has this railgun ready to go.
It's going to be a tricky one to finish out here for Cincinnati. But, you know, they could do it. They've already done it on 2 other maps and 1 point before. Toby1. Cheese now switching over to the Tracer as well. Even less health and less vertical mobility as well. So this might be even trickier. Now Chu can just one-shot you at any point in time. Don't even have the deflect to work with. Toby1 able to back off into this corridor. Does get javelined, but we'll be fine. And,
were they chasing Rowie that whole time? Is that why they made that big rotation?
I think so.
Everybody from Cincinnati just rotated on this like in a counterclockwise fashion. And Rowie died when it was all said and done. Didn't quite see who they were chasing, but with a 4v5, I mean, Michigan are so hesitant to try to push in on this. What are they waiting for, that nano boost?
They don't have to push in, though. Like, all they have to wait for is for this Doomfist to make a move, blow him up, and it's kind of it. Like, so far, they've been very able to rely on these opening picks because Michigan is forced to make a move. And it's been working out, but now it might not anymore. Oh, it still works out. There's 2.
Yeah, Michigan was waiting on the nano boost to engage, and I guess get their 5th player, get Rowie back in the fight. But alas, none of the above end up working out for him as Toby1 gets blown to bits.
We are going to get, of course, the next Flashpoint. there are 5, but we only have potentially 2 more to go, as it's now match point and map point here for Cincinnati Red. Only 1 more 100% point, and they'll be able to walk away with the series, and they have 2 points of chances to do it with. Michigan only has, well, they need to win both of them if they want to have a chance of, well, not only extending, potentially still winning the series, as Cheese gets picked off straight away.
It was before the wall even came up. Rohan was so fast and so accurate with that shot that Cheese could not even get the wall up before that railgun had dotted him between the eyes. And first control on what is our potential final point of the series is in Cincinnati's control.
Yeah, able to just, I mean, out mechanic them. You brought it up before, and it still holds true. Like this, the out mechanicking of the DPS in particular is a very big issue that they're having on the side of Michigan, and that Cincinnati is able to leverage quite well. It goes a little bit deeper than that, but it's a factor for sure.
I mean, Rohan continues to light up the feed. Every single fight, Rohan is a factor of some sort. Down barrier out, trying to protect against the Terror Surge. In from Andog. Andog got very low on health, but still manages to slam the Javelin onto the ground.
Good
Blizzard out from Chu, gets blown up for it, but the Blizzard did land. Manages to carve that one around the kinetic grasp, and it ends up being the death of Michigan. Could be the end of the series here if they don't get a touch in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, this is not going to be one. This is less than 10 seconds too. It's how quickly this timer goes. It's very, very hard to get back to this point in time. Only C2D2 should really be able to do it, and they are wall riding, but they cannot make it. Physically impossible. That's a GG. Cincinnati taking away the win. Very deserved as well.